Hey guys, I know it's been a minute, but we've been pretty busy doing some other stuff, trying to get streamlined with online operations since we can't really do any in-person stuff. So we've been doing online adoptions, some other things like that. So today we're going to kind of talk about some of the animals we've taken in recently, specifically 3 different bearded dragons, what's wrong with them, and I'm going to show you how we set up one of our enclosures for some of these guys. And we'll get right to it. Alright, so as you can tell with this little guy, he is severely underweight. You can see his bones popping out here and there. You see his tail just looks very skinny, his legs. And you can see his ribs underneath here. And up here, you can tell that his fat pads are sunken in pretty badly. And he hasn't really been eating much lately. But this is the way he came to us. His tank was full of just crap, literally crap. Full of dried grasshoppers, some pellets, and just a bunch of junk just all smashed together into a big gross ball in the corner. But hopefully we're going to get them set up and get them to eat. We want to get the UVB and their heat source as close to their bodies as we can. So we use these lower tanks, and once they're eating good and seem like they're in better shape, we'll put them in the taller ones, or we'll put them in some custom enclosures that we have. And this one's going to be for this guy. This is the one that you can tell with skin and bones, even though he's pretty active. Come here, buddy. Come here. This is going to be your new little house, man. Relax. So you can see he's moving around. He just doesn't have much of an appetite. So hopefully once we get him set up in here, we can get him to put on some weight, get his fat pads filled out, and set him up from there. So what we're going to use as substrate is forest floor from ZoomEd. Now it's basically just like your typical cypress mulch, but these guys are awesome in the fact that they donate some of this stuff to us. So we're going to go ahead and use that. And only that. Sometimes I'll mix it with peat moss or just plain old topsoil. Wow. And it would probably be a ton easier if I took out the lid. So I'm going to do that. And that's what I love about these guys. If you have decorations you can't fit through the front door, or something else you can't do through the front doors, you can just pop off the lid like this. So we're going to go ahead and dump this whole bag in here. Actually, most of the bag. And just spread it out real nicely. I don't like to go light with my substrate. So I'm going to spread that out for him, give him something crawling around in that's not too harsh for him. We're not going to use slate tile or anything like that because we want to give him something to grip onto. So we're good there. And while I have that up, put a nice little branch in here for him. Put this back on. Alright, we're going to put a little half log of hide in here for him in case he does decide to climb up. And we're going to put it in the back corner, and we're going to have his heat lamp here, and we're going to put a fluorescent type UVB lamp up here across the front. That's going to cover at least 2/3 of the tank, and that's what you generally want to go for when you're doing any setup. So if you have a smaller or bigger one, you want to go for a smaller or bigger light fixture. So that way they get enough UVB throughout the whole tank and they don't have to sit in one spot to get it, like those little coil bulbs that twist around that are kind of useless in our opinion. But I'll give him that. Give him a nice little bowl here so we can feed him his veggies and water every once in a while. Actually, I'll probably use a more shallow bowl for water, which I'm not going to look for right now. And then we'll just throw in little bit of decoration, just to help him feel more secure. You know, he has something to hide behind besides going into the log hide. And that's it. I mean, super simple. You know, it took me a couple of minutes. Hardest part was putting the tank on this table so I can show you guys. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to put them in there. Come here, buddy. Sit down. And once I get him into our reptile room, I'll put the light fixtures on there and he'll be good to go. And here's another little guy we took in. You can see he has his little pinch in his tail, so his tail's probably going to cut off and fall off right about there. And up here, you can see this little guy is actually missing parts of both of his front arms. This one's cut off right here on the elbow, and the other one, if I can get him to turn around a little bit, is right past the bend. So this guy was being kept in a 18 by 18 by 24 tank. That's usually what you would put arboreal lizards in, like crested geckos, day geckos, stuff like that. And he was being kept in there with, I believe it was 12 other babies at the time. And the lady that was selling him, and this is the really screwed up part. Oh, crap, I got a little bug on me. Can't eat that one, buddy. The really screwed up part is that she had an ad up with these guys for sale. Then the ad literally said $20 to $50 each, depending on how many body parts they're missing. Now, we've gotten him to eat. He's doing really well. He moves around fairly decently on his own. He does have a pretty good appetite, and hopefully he'll make a pretty good little turnaround here. And here's another little guy we took in, and I say little very loosely, because when we first took him in, he was about twice this size. Now, usually we get cases of neglect, but in this guy's case, he was just severely overfed and overweight. Didn't want to move around much, and he really couldn't because his belly was just dragging on the ground. But you can see he's looking good now. He's actually going to a new home fairly soon. And this guy, if you look on his toes and on his leg, you can see hints of red or pink now. But that is because he was being fed a ton of those store-bought pellets every day, and it kind of dyed his scales. And we get that pretty frequently from that, and also dyed scales from colored sand, which is a big no-no. And it goes away eventually, but it doesn't look very good, and it takes a few sheds before it's finally all gone. Hey, buddy. Love you. Alright guys, so you saw how incredibly simple that was to set up that enclosure for that guy. And most other enclosures are that easy as well. And people make it seem like it's going to take you, half an hour, an hour. It doesn't need to take that long if you have a plan of how you want it to look in the end, and you have all the stuff ready. I mean, it literally took less than 5 minutes. I mean, you can put a hot pocket in the microwave, go set everything up, wash your hands, and then go eat your hot pocket. Simple. And being that it's that simple, we don't understand why people can't do that for the animals that they end up buying. Do your research beforehand. Find out what kind of lighting it needs. Find out what the temperatures are going to be like. What kind of substrate is better or worse for them. If they like to climb, if they don't like to climb. Simple stuff like that. By doing that simple research and having a plan, you can avoid having a reptile end up in the condition that some of these guys are in that you've seen today. And the bad part is we see cases like this all the time. Yeah, we get a lot of healthy ones, but we also get the ones that are undersized for their age when it comes to lizards and snakes, for example. We get ones like you saw today missing limbs. We have the other bearded dragon that's paralyzed that we did in another video. And it's sad. I mean, if you saw that happening to a cat or a dog, people would freak the hell out. But when it happens to a reptile, nobody blinks an eye because they think, oh, it's just a lizard. Oh, it's just a snake. They don't have feelings. They're not actually pets. They're just something to have, and if you don't want it anymore, throw it away. No. You know, they're living, breathing things that we are responsible for. They can't get their own food when we have them. They can't change their water out. They can't replace a bulb. We have to do all that for them so that they don't end up neglected or just looking like hell, is the nicest way to put it. You know, there's so many other words I could use, but I'm not going to. All right, guys, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll leave a link to ZoomEd and Exoterra in the description. Oh, also, if you guys want to check out some of the merchandise we have some cool new shirts that are budget friendly with all this stuff going on. I'll put the link for those in the description as well. All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.